King Boom. Dirty Moors still attempt to infiltrate the order. Active Moors are truth and take it to the corners. Across highways, past hedges and through borders. Move on dirty Moors like broken down waters. Watch out for agents and provocateurs trying to get next to their heads with the doctor's cures. They never pay dues and don't pay dues, contradicting with King Alfred to give clues like news. Noble Drew Ali died from Palemore blues. Prophet saved him his money before the floor fell through, and that's true. Even though I don't have proof, stellar memory tells me don't fall for spook. Drop mental nukes, hanging from their own vine from the fig tree, looking up at them like Big B. No white flag or mercy for you fags. 5 point and pentagram is on our flag. Green, but not for cream. That dirty Moors took to throw off the balance of the Grand Treasury books, getting offers like high school ballers. Those that infiltrate are not Moors but robbers, robbing the people blind, deaf, dumb, and crippled. They can't tear this up, not one drop or trickle. No matter how hard they try to perpetrate the fraud, dirty Moors always fall on their sword. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started profiting. Me nah play with uno so simmer and easy. From 19 how long, me see it's sleazy. So sick, it's measly and disgusting. Everyone stood there. The Moors did nothing when Drew was attacked. They took the covenant that they will protect him and have his back. Behind on dues by 4 months. Going to kangaroo courts to perform stunts. Temples versus temples. Lawsuits from inner fights. Not doing their job. 3,500 for birthright. Mufti Force left supposed to be in Gucci stores with God. Thank Allah for the Sufi Moors and Buddhist Nagas. Moorish Mike Renaissance, not rap sagas. Confusion clearer. Empty battle scar wearer. Moorish nationality declarer. Straighten out the crooked ways, rap conduct squarer. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started profiting. Let me strip them down, I'm the bone bearer. Negro, black, colored minority, death preparer. Not the being, but the label attached. See me like Martin, going crazy, waving gas. Cause you call yourself black, that's a kick me sign on your life. Can't stab your enemy holding the blade of the knife. Numbskull MCs flow so dull that I'm pulling down Orishas like skull caps to torture the rapper, scissor sippers. Rapper, CD scratcher, insert ripper. Call me Jack and get slapped though. Admiral when I flow, major like macro. Don't spit on a cameraman like Pac will, but beat the case like Black Bill, but no lawyer. Ask Jim Carrey, liar, liars do nothing for you while they get rich and pour you. Make you follow magistrate orders that get the coke to snort from wood corners and block ghetto. All I see is rappers, dress codes, repetto, tight shirts, skinny jeans looking like heavy metal bands. I'm not Bay but L like bread and hands. I grab mics, no sweat in hands, with birthright brands. I don't worry about getting scanned. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started profiting. The problem is we started thinking like the colonists. The noble Drew Ali started profiting. What up?
Islam, peace and love, Moor. I am Israel, my left L. MHHS, eyes wide open, sons of Allah. Big shout out to sisters standing on law. Along with, I cannot forget my brethren, the Iron Sheik, Grand Sheik Kujo Awa Il, peace and love, noble. Are you
peace and love, Moor. You already know what. You already know what's good. Peace and love to our Moor. Worldwide.
Indeed, and that's really real. Definitely. man, I'm thankful again to be back and here to discuss a few things, to, go in on a few things. First of all, I want to say, it's pretty cool to say from the jump that I'll basically be bringing in my born day at the end of the show. So, I mean, it's kind of a unique situation. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to cancel. We're going to do this today. We're going to do this.
Right.
For sure, man, for sure. So, again, it's definitely a good thing to be here. It's a whole lot going on right now, as you know. It's almost too much to keep up with everything. But from the brief conversation we had earlier, I definitely, well, first let me say, I will continue on the preview of Are You in Denial of Your Ancestry, Part 3, but it's more of a visual thing. There's certain things I have to be able to show you, and then it won't be long before it's available for you anyway. But for sure, I appreciate all your great words, brethren, and we will get into some of that. But like we were talking or texting briefly earlier, one of the things that, I wanted to bring to light and specifically get some of the family's opinion on is this thing with the 20-note bill. It might be a little bigger than people think. And I say that, and I want to definitely, I know you have a lot to add on, but definitely I want the callers to know your opinion is definitely, or your thoughts, we definitely would appreciate. In light and in comparison to this, they say that they're putting Harriet Tubman, quote unquote, on the 20-note bill. And like I was asking you earlier, I'm like, do you think, or maybe this is an attempt to try to overthrow a prophecy, right? Because I'm like, don't get me wrong, I'm not like any type of hater. It is what it is. We don't print those notes anyway. But out of all of the notes, the 20 note, right? And Prophet Noble Drew Ali said the day will come when you will see the 20 note and step over it. So it's kind of like, are they trying to put the dead faith or breathe life into a dead fiat instrument by putting the image of a Moorish woman on the 20-note bill so that people will have faith in something that was already prophesied you would just step over anyway? Is that like a restoration to the whole scheme of things for them to keep that alive? Now, my thing is this, and I didn't know this. My mother pointed this out to me maybe about a year ago, and anybody can Google this. But Harriet Tubman, that wasn't her official appellation. Well, people have the right to self-determination. Don't get me wrong. I kind of see like a scratch or a defect in the history of this woman because I never knew. She had another appellation. And it wasn't Harriet Tubman. It's actually a really, really beautiful appellation. And you could just Google it. Wikipedia is here. It says she was born Araminta Ross, 1822. Araminta. And I'm like, man, that was a beautiful appellation for a sister. Now, I don't know what her intentions were like that, but I understand that she was working basically or helping out the Europeans, the Slavics and whatnot, get their freedom, you know what I mean, along in conjunction with Moors and things of that nature, and was given military intelligence during the Civil War and whatnot. So I'm like, well, I'm not really clear on you know what I mean, what the mission was. I mean, there has to be a certain veneration for the Europeans to throw or put, a Moorish face on a 20-note bill. I'm not knocking it. I'm just looking at where's the other boot at that's going with this. You know what I mean, bro? And I just wanted to share a few things that correlated you know what I mean, around the aspects of what they call a civil war. You know what I mean? Because the sister had, you know, dealings in that or participated in giving what they call intelligence to, you know, the Union Army or whatnot. So when we think of civil war, I just want to give a couple of lawful references. Excuse me. And this is from principally, cases on international law, principally selected from English and American courts, edited by James Brown Scott. And on page 533, it says there that as a civil war is never publicly proclaimed against insurgents, its actual existence is a fact in our domestic history, which the courts of justice are bound to notice and to know. So I'm like, well, you know, usually when they claim insurgents, that's just another, you know, code word for what they call enemies or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But what was interesting is that they said it's never publicly proclaimed. So when you translate that to what's going on today, when people are getting denied justice and you know, people are getting shot down in the streets, they're not just openly saying, you know, it's a war, but the actions are likened to the fact that that's the type of environment that it is right now for certain situations. I'm not trying to excite any type of trauma or distress or anything like that. I'm just saying, looking at what they call civil wars in this particular reference, correlating still with who they're calling Harriet Tubman. Now, I don't know what was the cause to fall from a aboriginal appellation like Araminta to Harriet Tubman, but I'm thinking, like, is that like erasing her legacy? Like, was she really calling herself that, or what was going on? Like, because I see so many correlations to Moors today who are getting in their proper person, and you know, versus the straw man or the Nam de Gears and whatnot. But I see a somewhat of a correlation there. Also, you know, on the note of a civil war, before we even go into any timelines, another reference from there, it says, a civil war, says Vitale, breaks the bands of society or government, or at least suspends their force and effect. It produces in the nation two independent parties who consider each other as enemies and acknowledge no common judge. Those two parties, therefore, must necessarily be considered, at least for a time, two separate bodies, two distinct societies, having no common superior to judge between them. They stand in the same predicament as two nations who engage in contest and have recourse to arms. All right? So they're comparing these two separate parties, right, who basically, you know, in the light of a predicament where two nations take, you know, recourse to arms. It says, this being the case, it is very evident that the common laws of war, those maxims of humanity, if that, I don't even know how that correlates, but, you know, these being, let me bring that back. So it says, this being the case, it is very evident that the common laws of war, those maxims of humanity, moderation, and honor, ought to be observed by both parties in every civil war. If a sovereign conceives that he or she possesses the right to hang up prisoners as rebels, the opposite party will make reprisals, etc. The war will become cruel, horrible, and everyday destructive to the nation. All right, so looking at this, and I'm like, what was up with that time frame of the Civil War? And are we technically in one today? Again, it correlates back to where the natural people are moving to in the mind state, realizing that these fiat notes really are not everything. But again, bringing it back to them putting so-called Harriet Tubman, all right, who was born Araminta Ross, and I'm not disrespecting if she felt like she had to correct the appellation to Harriet to get in a proper person. I think we could still take a lesson from that. I'm not saying that Harriet, if you do if you trace that word, that it's not Moorish, but I'm just saying, fam, Araminta is really powerful, and Ross is short for Russian, all right? So, and those are Asiatics, original people. So I'm looking at this whole thing by them putting her on there with a derivative appellation, if you will. What is that saying about her legacy? Who she is, what she was about, and will that restore dead faith in the dead fiat notes? Because the commerce has been a part of the Civil War, the economic war, the strategies there to keep people on below what they call a poverty line. So that's a part of their warfare is the Federal Reserve notes. So is it like almost like a poisonous pretty flower type of thing? Like it looks good, but really it's just another trap to keep the chains and strings on the people's mind. I don't want to look at it too deep like I'm some type of, conspiracy theorist. I'm just stating real facts. So I'm just saying I definitely would love to hear from the people on that, and you as well, my brethren. Islam?
Islam. Well, I mean,
sure.
When we look at the broad scope of what Noble Drew Ali presented, and like you're saying, the fact that they're using this note, right? Now they're deciding to take off a European off the note, right, and put an Asiatic on the note. Okay, now I was talking with Brother Omar earlier, and we were talking about them doing that to bring credibility back to the note, because once again, it's really about the matriarch, and then putting her on being the quote unquote first black or whatever lady, but just a lady in general. But they went to an Asiatic to put on the note, opposed to a European, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which brings this whole other thing now of when we're looking at the people being deceived into the patriarchal mindset, and continuing on with the patriarchal mindset, but the underlying power comes from women all the time, and
True.
when we look at how they use Harriet Tubman, or let's just say how they use Araminta in history, and then relating her to Moses, right? And then relating that to freeing the slaves who were in Egypt, and then when we check the story is from over here. Why are they relating something from over there over here as far as the story? Why didn't they find some story on this side to relate to freeing people that were held captive, right? So continuing on with the game of giving people crumbs, because we put it out there when we did the lecture with RVBey, when we brought him here the last time, about why did the slaves follow the North Star, and broke it down that she had to be connected to Aboriginal and indigenous culture. Whether it was this side or whether it was on the other side, she was connected to Aboriginal and indigenous culture, in order to do the things that she did to help the so-called slaves get out of slavery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, everything, the perspective that we have to look at everything happening right now, anything that's happening right now,
Mm-hmm.
is based on the aspect of people waking up to the fact that there's this man, Noble Drew Ali, that brought back their birthrights. Everything that's being done is to distract people from that. But if the people have an open mind, and if the people's eyes are wide open, they'll be able to see, they're kind of telling on themselves, right? So like we're saying, the 20 note, the fact that they're using the 20 note, they're not, they could have used any note. They could have changed the 5, 10, 20, 50, 100, 1,000. They could use any note. They used the note that Drew Ali spoke about, right?
Sure.
Putting it into people's mind again. Like this, as far as Moors, our duty is to put things in people's minds so they have the right perspective of what's going on, right? When you look at the Civil War, like you're talking about the Civil War, and then they have the movie coming out, right? And then the movie is based on Tony Stark's Iron Man, who wants to make the Avengers side with the government, and Captain America, who's saying, nah, we don't want no government handouts. We don't want the bailout package to be the Avengers. We want to be free in order to be the Avengers, right?
Word.
This is why there's a civil war happening amongst the Avengers, right? So they're telling on themselves more than they're holding back things right now, and we have to be extremely focused on the job at hand, the occupation at hand, the duty at hand as far as Moors. And it's to clear up people's perspective. You know what I mean? Yeah. Them putting her on note is, remember, 90% of the people don't know that she had a name before Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know that until I was like 28, bro.
Right.
And I remember hearing about her in school, but they never taught that she had another appellation. What was being buried with that? You know what I mean?
And
because
and
we
like
go through
saying,
some of the same things today.
And when you check the appellation, that's not from Africa. That's not an African name. We know that that's not an African name, right? So she had ties to over here.
Word.
She had a very, so what are they really trying to say, putting her out there? You know what I mean? Right. Are they trying to say that the so-called slaves are the Aboriginal people? Are they trying to say? Are they trying to say that continue to stay slaves? Because they got the as far as slaves concerned, right? Harriet Tubman is an icon in slavery.
Right.
But then the point but she was trying to be free. She wasn't trying to be on the plantation.
Right.
So why?
But then there's some Moors who have this subject is crazy because there's some Moors who have some information that actually was saying that she was helping to free Europeans, not necessarily Moors. I'm not saying certain Moors wasn't included in that, but that is why they venerate her, because she was helping them get free. Because we got to remember it was a point where the Europeans were slaves. I mean, and by all right, that term Slavic, you know what I mean? But hold on, though. At the same time, what if she was caught up in that? Because, like I said, Ross short for Russian, all right? Slavic, slaves, etc. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, what? Oh, man, this is crazy. But yeah, like you said, she wasn't in some way. She wasn't about being enslaved, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, this is what it is about. For sure. My fault. I didn't mean to cut your wisdom, but I wanted to add on that. You know what I mean? It was Europeans that were slaves too.
Right, and then we also have to tie in that when we look at the whole issue of Harriet Tubman, remember that there were other icons like Frederick Douglass, who spoke high about her. You know what I mean? And he was another one that he wasn't a slave. He used some slaves' freedom papers to get out of slavery that nobody doesn't talk about. You know what I mean? You know, you have people like Umar Johnson or whoever, you know what I mean, who claim descendancy of him and use his name as, you know what I mean, to get people to be down with this black BS, but he used freedman papers to get out of slavery.
Word.
You know what I mean? So when we look at the timeline, as far as you got Frederick Douglass, you got Harriet Tubman, right? That were working alongside each other, but they weren't content being slaves. They weren't in the position of, well, let's be black people and, you know what I mean, lay on the street in order to be free.
Right.
Let's stay black and let's block the carriages from crossing, from going down the street. We're just going to block the road off, right? So that, you know, the carriages can't pass, and then we're going to get some rights. No, they were standing up for their rights. They weren't laying down for their rights. They weren't begging for Europeans to accept certain things. You know what I mean? They weren't even accepting certain things. You know?
Right.
But again, you know, when we see the colonial powers do these drastic moves, you know what I mean? You know that they're testing the passivity of the people. When they do stuff just drastic, that after all these years, 2016, they're deciding to put change faces on notes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? When you had, you know, years ago when the rappers were talking about, get the big face money and all that stuff, no more small face and all that. They weren't changing stuff back then. All of a sudden, 2016, they just decide that, we're going to put an Asiatic on the 20 note. These people, like Brother Fonte said, these people are losing power all over the planet, and they know it.
Yeah.
And the more that the people stay passive, the more that the people stay in their dogma, the more that the people stay not thinking and not using the common sense, the more power these colonial pseudo powers have to abuse and violate people. It's like they had a thing talking about a shooting the other day where a Chinaman shot a brother and he got off.
Wow.
Right? Chinaman shot a brother and he got off, and it was a Chinese judge that made the decision for him to get off.
Now was this on American soil or Moroccan soil?
This was in New York or something like that.
So-called. Oh man, this is crazy.
So-called. Right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like the jig is up, but not really, because the people are stupid and they don't want to get that, you know, it's like they've been played for so long that they're content with being played now. So they really think that European colonial inquisitionist really cares about them because they put Harriet Tubman on some note. But, you know, people are still getting shot up and all that. People still on welfare. Why don't they, instead of putting her on the note, why don't they just give people, you know, somebody was saying, I seen one of these little memes talking about well, we don't care if you put it on a note, but we'll take the 40 acres.
Right.
You know what
I mean, because at the end of the day, that's where all the resources come from, is the land. You know,
the land. Ultimately, it's something that, you know what I mean, like you're saying, you know, we're not gonna be on some, you know, conspiracy theorists, you know, blow it up, you know what I mean, like these people talking about, you know, Illuminati killed Prince and all this type of stuff, right? We're not even like we're not even going there, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Not even going there, but it is something that should be considered by people, especially people who claim that, you know, slavery is their culture and being black is their culture and whatever like that. They need to look into these things with a serious lens, not looking into it like, you know, European doesn't care about no black people to put them on no. Like let's get real. You know what I mean? They don't care about them like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, even if
meanwhile they got all the gold and silver, right?
Right. You know what I mean? And then they have these people now chasing this 20 now. You know what I mean? That Noble Jolly told them that they're going to be walking over in a short time coming. You know what I mean? Now, so putting her on the 20 and then people walking over that, doesn't that mean that, you know, that doesn't mean anything as far as not the note, but her being on it doesn't mean anything. If the prophecy is that we're going to be walking over 20 notes, is it really the note? Because we've been knowing that the note doesn't mean nothing since 29 to 33 or whatever.
Right.
The note already means nothing. So why would this individual by the name of Noble Joe Ali make this statement that we'll be walking over that 20 note? Not any others. He said that specific note. Was it that he saw this hypocrisy coming? About them putting one of us on one of those notes? You know, it could even be a level where, you know, maybe they're giving Asiatics back all their stuff. And the Asiatics don't even know that they got their stuff back. I mean, if they're going to put you on the note, clearly, you know, maybe, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, they haven't done anything with the $1 note. That has the pyramid on it, but they're not going to claim that. Well, maybe they're going to claim it if they see themselves on it. You know what I mean? Maybe Europeans save face, and he's pretty much fed up, and he's trying to do anything in his power to make you to take your stuff back. Even put you on the debt note for you to make the claim.
Right.
You know, there's so much ways that this thing could go. Like it could go in so many different directions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If the people are thinking, if they're open minded to, you know, just learning something new every day. You know what I mean? But majority of the people are content in their state of ignorance. So, you know, they're gonna change it. You know, it's gonna be something that happens, it's implemented, and just like whoever died last week, they're going to forget about them, and they're going to start pumping up the next guy who died tomorrow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And you know what? Just to take, not to get off topic, but you mentioned Prince. I personally, you know, I missed that era in that essence. But I do understand. I think it's something we can learn from him as well. Is Harriet Tubman being mentioned in this conversation. Whereas whatever contracts he had going on, they said you couldn't use this quote-unquote name. So he went from the name to the hieroglyphs. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. That's saying something. You know what I mean? Because he was like, all right, well, you know, this type of activity, I'll speak a whole nother language on you saying the same thing and use the hieroglyph to express, you know, what he was claiming to be. It's pretty interesting, man. You know what I mean? So that's something else to consider when we're looking at all of these things, from so-called Harriet Tubman And I'm saying so-called because I think the Europeans probably tried to hit her with that appellation, opposed to, you know what I mean? I don't know what sister or brother would actually change from a Aboriginal type of appellation to a European appellation intentionally or apparently, or let's say it's not a European appellation. Let's say, it goes back to Moorish. Maybe some Moors in Europe somewhere. The vibration of that original appellation that she was born with is very serious. And they write so many people out of history by changing their appellation, including Moors, collectively.
Yep.
So Moors, we went from, and not that our descent nature changed, I'm just saying that how they started addressing us or acknowledging us in history back in 1774 with the Negro, Black, and Colored brands. So now people's history and scope is limited because they're not connecting to the original appellation of their foremothers and forefathers. So it's a disconnect from a certain history that's going on there. So they just pump out, these were black people, and this is their history. They're just pumping out, this is Harriet Tubman, and this is her history. I want to know about Araminta Ross. You understand what I'm saying? Like, understand that. Because I really don't think that she did that. I could probably stay in speculation until I grab up some more references. But as far as her appellation correction, I just don't see, especially if you're talking about a freedom fighter. See, back then people knew that the name that they were bearing meant something. Even if they wanted to say it don't mean nothing to me, or they knew it meant something to those who were trying to call them that. I suggest for those who are visual, a perfect example of that was the series called The Book of Negroes, when the European kept trying to call a sister something that she wasn't used to being called. And she kept telling them, no, that's not who I am. She was adamant, she was firm, she was consistent about being who she was, who her parents, who her village, the people of her village called her. So we know that that's also a strategy, changing or branding people with names or Christian words to grab attention, but not necessarily, that's not really who they was, what they were going by, And from what I understand, there's been like a lot of work, good, bad, and indifferent that this particular sister put in. From what I understand, Moors and Europeans benefited from her endeavors. Whoever it was, she was intending to be free. And I'm saying whoever it was because at this point, receiving some information that I'm not totally clear about, so I'm not even going to try to go into that. But that she was actually freeing European militants and giving them military intelligence. But in the area where I'm close by, the southern portion is like really, really, it's kind of like primitive, There's still a lot of woods, a lot of land. I mean, that's everywhere. You go outside of the city, maybe 15, 20 miles, you're just in the woods just about, you know what I'm saying? And, or you might have to go a little further because the land, you got to remember, like, the land is so vast, it's hard. It would take centuries and centuries upon centuries and millenniums to colonize the entire land. It's almost an impossible task. I mean, as far as, making all the live green earth, smothering it with concrete and things of that nature. That's a husky task. That's not a light task. So, there were certain areas where Moors and Europeans were benefiting off of what they were doing, what they were calling the Underground Railroad, which was definitely like about different safe houses traveling north, traveling south, etc. You knew different landmarks and safe houses, and like you said, they were using the stars, astrology, to navigate on the earth plane. That's a high science. I mean, compared to where we're at today. Like, if you ask them, they'll probably be like, oh, no, this is like breathing. We already know, what that is. And you could tell certain planets, if you really get on your astronomy, you'll know certain planets when you see them if you really start getting on your astronomy. Like, you'll know Mars has that, like, orange-red tincture. So whenever you see that orange-reddish star, you already know that's Mars. Jupiter is, like, the second brightest. So you start picking this up. It's not an impossible thing to have routes and maps based off of the stars. Keeping up with the movements of those stars is another thing. And again, I can never neglect to call to remembrance that Noble Drew Ali said in chapter 1 that the spirit of the mighty Allah, the cherubim and the seraphim, who rule the stations of the sun and the solar stars, are the guide and protectors, and they will lead to victory. Like, they were on that wave heavy, like mentally and putting it into action on the earth plane at the same time. So I just, for whatever, better or worse, just wanted to give that acknowledgement that astrology, people think it's some sort of, or astronomy, some people think it's some sort of, pseudoscience. No, people were literally getting free. It has a lot to do with freedom. Even if they was just mentally freeing themselves, it would assist with that. If they were navigating on the earth plane, trying to get to freedom, it would assist with that. These are the maps. This is the star chart, the navigating points. So we can't take that science lightly. And, people's ancestors were getting free based off of charting the stars and watching the movements. So among, other high civilized things such as building pyramids aligned with certain stars. So astronomy is no type of light subject. It's no joke. It's not a pseudoscience. Also, to keep in mind that speaking on this 20-note bill, the gold and silver is based off of the sun and the moon. That's why it was, for the Europeans, that had to be the obligatory receiving for payments and debt. Like, they can't even make anything else but gold and silver coin and tender for payment and debts. So even when we look at these notes and they're going to put the sister on the 20 note, like you already emphasized, Noble Drew Ali said we will be stepping over. That's a prophecy. All right, the origin of the real money, which is gold and silver coin, is still based in cosmology and astrology. And you see that reflected in the Law of the Land, Article 1, Section 10. So it's so much that goes with what's going on, the note, the sister herself, the other freedom fighters, etc. And cosmology, astrology, it's not a joke. I just wanted to add that on, brethren, because the gold and the silver comes from the land. That came out of the earth, and the earth is a mother. There is a matrix. It's a womb, the earth itself, that we have the ability to live on the surface of, if you will. So all of these beautiful things, these jewels and these gems and things of that nature, that come from the mud, it's value in that. These papers that they could just put anybody's face on and change when they feel like it, it doesn't have specific value or monetary value. But people that are in their feelings and, attached to that story of we slaves and we come from slave history and we just had a quote-unquote black president who's really not that, well, that could be argued because his mother was European. I'll leave that there. But they're under the impression that because he had a certain level of copper complexion skin that, he was black. That's their thought process. So now those same people, right, who their hero is about to leave office in a couple of months, next best thing is what? Harriet Tubman on the 20 note and remembrance. I mean, for them, it's just sentimental value. It's not. There's nothing more or less than that. It stops at the sentimental value. But in reality, it's saying something because it is a written document. It's saying a lot. It's saying a lot. You know, we briefly talked about that a couple of weeks ago about the exchequer and whatnot, and those being really the democracy, the demon crafters, who basically just translated the word exchequer over to the Treasury Department, the English Treasury Department that they're calling the United States Treasury. It's a big difference. And this is where most of your dogma comes from, economic warfare, and the so-called poverty line. All of this comes from the exchequer. So there's a lot to receive, a lot of messages that go with that, man. And I just hope we can keep our eyes wide open and realize, you know, everything is for a reason. I'm not the one to try to say, oh, they shouldn't do it. I'm just saying the reason why they're doing it is something more than what just apparently meets the eye or what's on the face of things. So, yeah, that's definitely my piece on that, man, for sure.
Just throw something else out there, because you have to also remember too who they're taking off. They're taking off Andrew Jackson.
Yeah. Okay. There we go.
Now, what? You know, why him? Why are they taking him? Right? Because now you're getting into, you know, the Battle of Negro Fort, right? And this called African American Fort in Florida, so-called Spanish Florida, that Andrew Jackson was helping to get rid of, right? When they were doing their colonial occupation. But then why would this African American Negro fort be run by Seminoles? Why is a Seminole fort called Negro in the 1800s? Right? So you have Seminoles, who are Aboriginal indigenous people, that have a fort that's called Negro. And then they talk about, at the end of that war, the Seminole Wars, they talk about the so-called United States taking down the red flag of the Seminole Fort. This is in the history of the Battle of Negro Fort. So they're getting this individual out the way to get the history out of the way that ties these so-called Negro black color people to this side of the land. But then, you know, they're bringing somebody in who had a Aboriginal indigenous name, but then I was checking out what in with the name. They're saying that she got Tubman from her husband.
Now that speaks to a lot more things. You know, I love my brothers and sisters out there, but we got to keep in mind that for certain reasons, that's why the mother historically never really lost her appellation. You would have to come into that family's appellation in certain aspects. You know what I mean? But let's say if everybody's L's and B's and whatnot, there's no disputes. There's no history being lost, if you get my drift, right? So if we're in our proper person, the history can't be lost. But that was an interesting point. I see. I didn't know that. And was Tubman a Moor, or was he a European? What was going on with that?
That's yet to be found out. More than likely, he was, you know, another denationalized Moor who took on the name of slave master as well. You know what I mean? It could have been an arranged marriage, for all we know. They might not even loved each other.
Right.
Could have just been a slave marriage. You're gonna marry him, and that's the end of it because you're my property.
Yeah, that's how they do. It's no different than if they have dogs and cows. They try to set up an environment for them to breed so they could get more dogs or cows. You know what I mean? And they translated that sick concept to trying to own human beings and whatnot. So, that was another interesting point for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, yeah, man. So, yeah, I mean, we had, I don't know what's going on. We had two hands up from the beginning. I think they want to weigh in, and it's all good. I think they want to weigh in on the subject. They've been patiently, with their hand up since I called out people to add on. You want to get into some callers now? I mean, right now we just got two.
If there's two,
you know what I mean?
They might end up talking for a half hour. We could bring them in.
Yeah, and the lines keep lighting up as I'm speaking. So, all right, let me take the first caller who had their hand up in the queue, and let's hear your thoughts, family. Caller 443-376. You're live on the air. Are you with us, fam?
Islam, beloved. How are you? I am Hassan Ghazi Obey at Northwestern Maxim. How's the brothers?
Peace,
man. All is well.
Peace. When you started shouting out the different appellations for the mother, and you was like, as far as doing some research, I just, kind of just did some speed research real quick just to add to the discussion, and it was pretty revealing and interesting. I didn't really get to the kind of like the day and time that the mother was laid down, but I got the years 1820 because I was also trying to see how the planets were aligned at the time that she was laid down. But let me just kind of get to my point. I did notice that she had transformed past form in Pisces, which is March 10th, and it was 1913. So I figured that would like stand out tremendously to us as far as the year 1913 because we come across that a lot, and especially when we're talking about Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And doing a quick research, Araminta. Just quickly in Google, nothing real heavy. English compound of Arabella and Aminta, yielding the term lofty, and the etymology for lofty was exalted, of high rank. So in the combination, Arabella was Latin from orabilis, meaning yielding to prayer. And when we look at prayer in Black's Law Dictionary, page 1339, for those using the PDF version, it's the PDF page 1415. The request contained in a bill in equity that the court will grant the process aid or relief which the complainant desires. Also, by extension, the term is applied to that part of the bill which contains the request, if you wanted to just kind of further go into Arabella. Aminta is defender. So just Araminta alone is a defender who yields to prayer, if we were to look at it like that, so to speak, or a lofty defender who yields to prayer, as far as looking at her original first part of her appellation. Ross yielded promontory or high or headland, and when one checks the etymology for promontory, that deals with, comes from Latin mons, M-O-N-S, dealing with mount or hill, from the promontorium, which was mountain ridge. So it seems like Araminta Ross, just on the basic, just a brief, search for the origin and meanings of those appellations, yields let's see if I got this right, a lofty defender yielding to prayer of the mountain ridge. So, I mean, that is powerful, and that alone, as we are the mound builders, so to speak. Now, when we get into Harriet and Tubman, it was very interesting. It says that Harriet yielded one who rules the home, which I instantly, you know, as Cancer, I thought of the moon, because the moon, you know, rules home and family. Cancer is home and family, you know, also corresponding with the fourth house or whatever. So I kind of thought of that, as well as when you look up the origin and meaning of Tubman. Tubman will yield also a brief denotation, and it was id-s from forebears.io, which is a website I saw it on real quick. It had said Tubman referred to the copper. Literally, it said the copper. So it seems like Harriet Tubman would mean the copper rules the home. Just, you know, if anybody just, you know, wanted to further, you know, go into that research or whatever. But I just really thought that was, you know, really, really interesting, just in that alone, as far as, you know, Harriet Tubman. And, of course, in law, when it was, you know, when it brought up words as far as prayer, and then when you look in prayer and you see bill and equity, you know, I was looking at bill and equity, too. You know, that's on page 207 of Black's Law Dictionary, PDF page 283, actually. So it's like when you kind of look at what is behind Harriet Tubman and the fact that she's on the 20 note, and replacing the quote-unquote president that, you know, last ended the national debt as well. When you kind of do research on Andrew Jackson, that was the individual that is credited to that ended the last quote-unquote national debt, where the United States of America, quote-unquote, didn't have a national debt anymore. So it is a few signs and clues that are happening there, all being talked about on the same day of the passing of a musician that goes by, you know, Prince, who is usually the one who is in succession to whoever the current ruler is. I mean, you know, just when we just use our basic keys, you know, basic Kabbalistic keys or basic linguistics keys, and finding the denotation of words, we can actually find a lot of science to this, especially with sticking with the cosmology and the cosmogony of these things. It would just be a whole lot more richer to see what her true birth date was, so to speak, her born day, and getting the time, because it would be interesting to see when the planets were aligned then, as well as checking the date when she passed as well, and how that correlates to 1913 as far as dealing with the United States, and as far as dealing with Prophet Noble Ali, and just making all those correlations. But that's all I had. You guys had said research the appellations real quick. That's what I did within the first few minutes of this show, and I yield the floor. Thank you so much. Peace and love.
Indeed. Peace, Moor. Yeah, thank you for adding on with that. That was great research, and man, let's see what others have to say. Thank you again, brother, for calling in and dropping jewels and adding on.
Yes,
all right?
Fine. Yes.
All right. Peace and love. One. All right. The Skypers. Here we go. Caller 111. 111. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Yes, I am. How you doing, my brother?
All is well. Can you speak
peace and love. Peace and love. I definitely got to talk about that money that y'all brought up. I'm glad y'all brought that topic up today.
This brother
calling from Turtle Island /MX, Balance L. So, yeah, that money, I think that's a deploy.
Hold on, fam. Slow down for a second. What's your appellation, bro?
Balance Ill.
You said Balanzi?
Yes, it is, brother.
Oh, all right, true. I thought it was. I was like, okay, cool.
No question, brother. No doubt, no doubt.
Well.
That was vibing on the same vibration like me. I was thinking about that all day, and I was building with some other brothers. I was schooling them on that, because the ancestors was talking through me, telling them that, you know, they always come around when they see we getting ready to wake wide open. You know, when we Moors are getting ready to wake up fully. They always try to get something out there to throw it in the mix. So to see who's throwing who off, so, you know, to keep them really staying asleep somewhat. Because you know how women are by nature. They're the best thing on the planet. Now, if you throw their face on a dollar bill, any form of fake note, that would slow down the process to have them think like, yo, these Albions really, really, really respect, so we don't got nothing to really say about them, even though they've been shooting them unawoken Moors down to a certain degree. I think it's like a chess game. You all play chess, right?
Man, yeah. I got a board for
so when you got a strategy, you're going to use all you got in order to win against your opponent. That's how I'm looking at it right now. We on the chessboard, and they pulling out everything they got, so they can't give up all that power that they got.
Well, before you go on, let's think about this, right? Because you're saying it's a chessboard. You got to remember the quote-unquote U.S. Treasury Department was founded on the exchequer, which goes back to the chessboard. And so the English Department of Treasury translated to the U.S. Department of Treasury. Of course they playing chess. Of course they're playing chess, man. Know that.
No doubt. That's why we can't lose focus. We can't lose sight of what's going on. Because like we've been told, and y'all already know, we've been at war, and we always still at war, no matter what.
Yeah.
So that's why we got to stand on our square at all points, any means beyond necessary. And keep them eyes wide open with that third eye, staying focused, keeping the body alkaline, eating the right foods. Because you know the answers is always right there ready to talk to us at any given time if we keep that mind open and giving it that right organic food that is needed.
Yeah.
But the ones that are unawoken Moors, that's who I'm looking at saying, wow, I hope they can see somewhat, even though they, you know, they're under that spell that's so deep. Because you, me, Brother Cujo, and other Moors, we see what's really going on because we watching the movie. You know what I'm saying? And everything comes from, like how y'all say, and your mother say, everybody. That is good Moors. You got to study. When you study, it becomes you. And you see things more than you ever see. Versus if you don't study.
Indeed.
So I'm loving this show. I'm loving the shows. I'm loving all the shows y'all put on because, boy, I'm right on the same wavelength as you, and I'm happy to see y'all. Y'all giving it to the family raw. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you know, Chuck D and Flavor said, you know what I'm saying? You know they say it's the best, right? You heard all the songs they made, right? Huh? And ODB said it. Shame on you. You know what I'm saying?
Shame on the nigga.
Shit. Shame for a brother trying to get his name on the brother, right?
Yeah, you already know.
Right.
And you know, Cujo be coming with his stuff. I see he got flavor. You know, he be real. I be in the whip. I be listening to all this stuff that I can grab up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Cruising through, you know, playing it out so, you know, all them unawoken Moors can get a little taste of what's going on. Because, you know, that rap is really powerful. It can touch people's lives. Because, you know, most people won't pick up a book.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely.
Whenever I'm in them clubs, I'm trying to play his music, you know, as much as I can.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, man.
Sure.
Yeah, man. Hope you keep it up, man. Don't stop it. Hope you keep riding till the wheels fall off, man.
Well, we're going to ride it.
You know it? And you from up there in Canaan land, up there in Canada, right? In the corporate state of Canada, man. Boy, oh boy, they got some dirty Moors from what I heard you say, man, on your videos. Boy, oh boy, man. But I know one thing, we're going to work it out. We're going to get it right. You know what I'm saying? Because it stems from unity, man. And all the rest of them going to have to go to the wayside.
For sure.
You know? Because everything starts within. We got the seed. We can bring those back forth, you know, once you understand the life. that you possess and hold. But, I'm going to yield the floor. I'm going to let y'all keep doing what y'all do best. And I love y'all to death. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, peace and love, fam. Appreciate you.
You already know. I feel you. I feel your vibes, man. Keep putting the word out there. Islam,
brother. Islam. Thank you for tuning in. For sure.
You already know. You already know, man. I'm going to keep waking them up, man. Keep waking them up. Do my part. You know what I'm saying? You already know, man. So we all can come together as one.
And that's what's really good. It's funny. This the brother. You contacted me right after because you do your DJ thing, and it's funny. Yeah. So when I first played the song you did, brethren, with the deaf won't hear, the blind won't see. My brother hit me and said, "Yo, I'm trying to play that in the club." Yo,
you already know.
Yo, give me. How do I get the song? I said, "Damn, well, I'll put you in contact with the brother." But it is the power of music. You know what I mean? So
you already know,
and that's a smooth tune. So I'm
gonna need that song because I be on the YouTube. They got the ones where they got Blue Pill Talk and they just play one verse. You can't, So I'm gonna have to get it from off his site. You sell that individually?
Yeah, no, I can send. Yeah, I can send it to you individually. Just
all right. Yeah, he got my email. Mizrael, he got my email.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'll get the email off Mick and I'll get that sent to you, no doubt.
That's peace. I want to blast that. I want to play that at high volume.
For real.
So you go all up in their body. You know what I'm saying? This is not a game. This is real deal Holyfield out here. We ain't playing. We taking all this back. This estate, vast estate. You already know we here. Ancestors had come. We ain't having it. We laying it down for the crown.
Indeed.
From there to the cradle, rock down, till they drop you down into the tombs,
Or
cremate.
You already know. Just leave them dirty Moors alone. You know what I'm saying? They're going to be handled. They're going to be taken care of. They're already taking care of themselves.
No question. So indeed,
real.
brother.
That's why, real recognize real. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
So I want to hold the floor, I'm going to give that floor and let somebody else take over and let y'all finish, guide and navigate the shift through. You know what I'm saying?
Islam, Noble, for sure, man. Thank you for your support, tuning in, and get the word out, man. Keep doing what you do, the best you can do.
You're all right. You already know. Y'all keep doing what y'all do best, too. Peace and love.
Sure. Peace and love, fam. One. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So, yeah, man, I mean, it's a good thing. And people are giving the love, and it's all good. I'm going to get into the next caller. Caller 315-414. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Yes, Islam.
Islam.
Yes. Islam. I am new to. I just submitted my application, or not my application, but my declaration. So, but this is the first time I'm listening in on this show, and
right. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in.
Well, thank you. I do have a couple of comments on, one on the Sister Harriet Tubman, and being that coming up with, coming into, my consciousness about being a Moor and nationality, and this fiat, or this dollar bill. How can we, begin to create our own value system or fiat, as a community, and standing on our own economics and creating value, within or, aside to this corporation, this state core, and, because there are communities here in, the U.S. that are, have created their own communities with their own value system. And I know that we are in our duty to attract Moors to to coming into their nationalization. But how can the crux or the difficulty will be to be able to encourage them to to see the value that through our economic plan, to
for sure.
But so when the young brother that just mentioned, her name meaning copper, and the copper penny, that maybe this could possibly be a strategy on their part, knowing that the development of, the nation of Moors, in their development, will, in a sense, have to come up with their own economic, power. So that could possibly be a strategy that they're using, and like you say, sisters having a strong, inclination, to vanity, so
for sure.
With this
well, sis,
representation.
if I could answer that question, I could answer that question to the best of my ability, you're saying that how can we create our own economic value? All right, first and foremost, I would say we could start by recognizing that everything valuable is not necessarily tangible. So I would say the first thing to recognize in the value is studying the Constitution to see what it really is, what they're obligated to accept or to even consider as value. Now, the Aboriginal indigenous people had different ways of doing commerce and trade, because you got to remember, it was a time when the European wasn't even here. Excuse me. So there was no note circulating that had images of Europeans on it. What were they doing? Because you got to go back, in the essence, look at what your ancestors were doing to see what we need to be doing to be autonomous today. They never relied on a piece of paper with a European face, because it just didn't exist. The concept is very foreign, really. So when you look at Article 1, Section 10, you will be enlightened to the fact that, the Federal Reserve Note already does not have value. People, accept different values of things based off of where they're at. So, like the land, right? All the resources come from the land, whether it be the paper that they use to print on trees or whatever, gold, silver, copper, all different tin, lead, all of these different things have value. They really do. The Federal Reserve Note does not equal the value of these things that were naturally manifested, because, one, they were manifested by nature, so the value of it is way more worthy than a man-made print of a any type of note saying that it's commerce. It's no different than a check. You know what I mean? Without having that understanding, first and foremost, that, the Aboriginal indigenous people are not limited to trade in any one area. Like, so let's say you have a bunch of cloths and you're into, selling blankets and towels and things of that nature. You know what I mean? I might make soaps and we can exchange like that. Now, if you're trying to go to the supermarket to get food, they're not going to accept the bar of soap as any type of value. It might have value amongst us, but the supermarket wants something more substantive. So you're not going to be able to use that there. But where's the remedy at? Do we really need to go to the supermarket if we are in possession of the ancestral estate in a fashion where we're operative with it into agriculture, agriculture? We're growing our own food, making our own recipes, and like the brethren said, giving our body the things that we need to keep it electric. I can't say I have all the answers as far as, what type of paper note we should create or others are creating, and what type of value it has in a more Rotarian aspect of society. Whereas, you can't do everything with paper notes. Without certain things. Certain people are just looking to accept one thing only. So I don't have the answers to that, except for it's in the collective. The answer is definitely in the people collectively. It's a what are we gonna do thing. You know what I mean? So for right now, you know what I mean? You need gas. If you're gonna be traveling or whatnot, you need those types of things. Certain things are a necessity. You can't go to the gas station with, 100 bottles of alkali water for gas unless you have a contract or something like that. They're going to tell you go to the next gas station because we got 200 cases in the back. So there's certain things, you know what I mean, that I don't know if I don't know. I don't have the answers to everything. I don't know what people are going to do with ousting out the Federal Reserve note, except for strictly doing commerce amongst each other or doing business and trade amongst each other. But for now, there's necessities. So I'm not validating it, but I would get more focused on that because, and another thing too is, you said it's like different people within the United States who've created their own circulation of money. Where are they at teaching these classes? Like, they need to be given the answers for that, but also really understand being a Moor, an American, Aboriginal, that you have to realize the United States is not really a place. It's a corporation. United States of America, both of them are not places. They are corporations. So there is no borders for the United States because the continent is North America. So there's no such thing as continental United States because the continent is North America, which the corporation United States is only operating in a certain portion of what they're calling, of North America, Northwest of Mexico. So understand the territorial jurisdiction and realize the value in that first, and then we can navigate from there because that is economics. That is realizing, the energy, the ecosystem, the natural environment. So, yeah, I don't have those answers particularly. I don't think I do, except for just getting back to the law of nature is the main thing. And in enforcing the Constitution, there's a lot of remedies as far as monetary, etc. Because why? Gold and silver coin can only be really is the only tender for payments and debts. But let's say you don't have a debt. You know what I mean? You're just trying to do some trade or exchange. There's different aspects and avenues that go with that. So I don't have that answer, Islam.
Islam. And thank you, brother. That makes perfectly good sense. It's already happening in many respects. People are bartering and doing fair exchange. I was just looking at from the viewpoint that was given in terms of, sisters or, being impressed, by this $20, and the sister Harriet Tubman on the face of the dollar bill.
It's a Federal Reserve note, because you got to remember, just like we're looking at these Federal Reserve notes, no different than people get checks from their jobs, and then they convert the check into more paper, because the so-called check is just paper, right? And then you take it to a so-called bank or check cashing place, and then they convert the check for the notes. The notes in its original function were definitely just checks. They were Federal Reserve notes, redeemable for lawful money, which was the gold and silver coin. But it was part of an ill-advised scheme by the Exchequer, calling themselves the U.S. Treasury Department, that, said, okay, well, this is the end. This is the beginning and the end. There's no converting this, only exchange. So realizing the origin of what we're dealing with now can help us move forward with what else we want to do. Because there's a lot going on, as we was mentioning, different aspects of so-called civil wars and people not recognizing and nobody recognizing any type of common judge or anything like that. That's really the climate right now, and in certain aspects. So again, for those who don't know what you were talking about, people being impressed with themselves, this is what we even brought it up for, is because it's kind of sort of like a attempt to bring faith back to something that is dead. If it was all good, they wouldn't be changing it. You know what I mean? So by saying, okay, these so-called people love so-called money, let's put their image on it. We gave them a president in office, quote unquote. Now here goes the imagery of yourself again on the thing that you say that you love, because you got to remember this. This is a lesson, you know what I mean? That it's actually called fiat, the Federal Reserve note. They say dollar bill, but it's fiat. It's faith. It's dead faith. So they're trying to restore faith back into something that has no value by saying, okay, if you're not going to accept it like this, you're going to have some sort of sentimental connection if we put your image on it. So that's basically what it is now. And they know what type of psychology they're dealing with out here. So people are going to, those who don't know, it's going to be a celebration for them. You know what I mean? And at the same time, it's like a bait type of thing. So I don't know, we have a lot more greater achievements than that in these times, like the brethren was just saying. They get the impression, there's no problem. If there was a problem, why they putting us on the note? That's the diversion. You know what I mean? It's a smoke screen. So, yeah, for sure. I don't know, because it's hard to try to control somebody else's sentiment. You can't control anybody else's sentiment. That's their feelings. But if we can get out of our feelings and really deal with this law, we can enforce this Constitution and bring the monetary standard back to civilized society, so that the remedy that we were talking about or thinking of, if we deal with the supreme issue Noble Drew Ali left and said was the supreme issue, which was enforcing the Constitution, within that, there goes the laws of the monetary value, gold and silver coin, the lawful and legal tenders of payments, of debts, et cetera, et cetera. So I would focus on that, the Constitution, Article 1, Section 10, for those who are worried about the money, the value, because you also too, if you can see a little bit into the future, you realize that excuse me, my bad, pardon me. If you can see a little bit into the future, what they're doing now, slowly but surely, we're not even going to be dealing with Federal Reserve notes either. Like, everything is about to move to digital ways. They already got it where you could slide your phone across the grocery scanner and make the payment. They already got it where you could do self-checkout. So there's not going to be, people in a minute, there's not even going, you're going to be dealing with straight robots and things of that nature. Not to sound far out, but when I say robots, I mean such things as the self-checkout lane at the supermarket. Once people get used to that and get on that wave, trust me, there will be more lanes with the self-checkout lane and less employees. So you won't even be dealing with the notes like that. You're going to be dealing with machines, technology. So their own system is going to self-destruct or implode in a certain aspect. It's only a matter of time, which is why basically they kind of like throwing it out there now, like, okay, this is already dead. We'll throw your face on this. Y'all can have that. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. So, again, my strongest suggestion for those who want to change the way that they're dealing with the value system and the economics in the Federal Reserve note, I strongly suggest you go to the Constitution and enforce that for starters, and then everything else will fall into place. You'll start to see what matters and what really doesn't. That's my thing. And if there's other tribes or people who are doing that, then, we need references to their examples of how this is going to work for, the common man of today or the common woman of today who's just trying to get back and forth from point A to point B so she could bring food back or he could bring food back to their family. How is that going to work for them? You know what I mean? What are we going to do about that? So at the same time, so I don't know. But my sister, like, did we, I don't know, Brother Kuzma, did you want to add on? My fault.
Yeah, just to interject something as well. Two things. One, that the sister brought up, that other people are, doing this exchange in their communities. We have to always remember and keep in mind that when we say that we're Moors, remember that historically it's ancient, but from an application perspective, it's new to us. So when we look at other people doing certain things, remember that when they were implementing those things, we were Negro black colored. We thought that was cool. So a lot of the things that we're getting today, which aren't to our benefit, is for us dropping the ball, because Noble Drew Ali had everything already planned out for us. We had our own manufacturing companies and all that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're behind the eight ball. So certain things that we look at other people, we can't really use them as a reference, because during their inception of exercising certain things, they weren't hindered in doing that because we were out the way. But now that we're coming into the knowledge of what's really going on, now these people's things are threatened now. Because as soon as we start implementing the things that they got, now they gotta get the hell out of here too. Because half the people who are doing these different mediums of exchange are foreigners here, right? The other thing that we have to keep in mind is I'm just going to read something from King Alfred Plan. Apparent capital as paper inductor. In this structure, credit presented as a pure circuit element called currency has the appearance of capital but is in fact a negative capital. Hence, it has the appearance of service, but is in fact indebtedness or debt. It is therefore an economic inductance instead of an economic capacitance, and if balanced in no other way, will be balanced by the negation of population, war, genocide, etc. The total goods and services represents real capital called the gross national product. The currency may be printed up to this level and still represents economic capacitance. But currency printed beyond this level is subtractive, represents the introduction of economic inductance, and constitutes notes of indebtedness, which is where we're at right now. War is therefore the balancing of the system by killing the true creditors, the public, which we have taught to exchange true value for inflated currency, the falling back on whatever is left of the resources of nature and the regeneration of those resources. Economics is only a social extension of natural energy system. It also has its three passive components. Because of the distribution of wealth and the lack of communication and consequent lack of data, this field has been the last energy field for which a knowledge of these three passive components has been developed. Since energy is the key to all activity on the face of the earth, it follows that in order to attain a monopoly of energy, raw materials, goods, and services, and to establish a world system of slave labor, it is necessary to have a first strike capability in the field of economics. In order to maintain our position, it is necessary that we have absolute first knowledge of the science of control over all economic factors and the first experience at engineering the world economy. In order to achieve such sovereignty, we must at least achieve this one end, that the public will not make either the logical or mathematical connection between economics and the other energy sciences or learn to apply such knowledge. This is becoming increasingly difficult to control because more and more businesses are making demands upon their computer programmers to create and apply mathematical models for the management of these businesses. It is only a matter of time before the now breed of private programmer economists will catch on to the far-reaching implications of the work begun at Harvard in 1948. The speed with which they communicate their warning to the public will largely depend on how effective we have been at controlling the media, subverting education, and keeping the public distracted with matters of no real importance. So the real deal is that the real money is really energy.
Mm-hmm.
The real money is keeping your energy, not the resources. If we're going to say money, if we're going to say bills, if we're going to say dollars, if we're going to say, whatever, it's about the energy.
Mm-hmm.
So when Noble Drew Ali said, a good Moorish leader studies his Quran and his 101 questions, he was creating money for us, which was energy.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Say that again?
Well, I was just going to comment that where attention, the focus, wherever you focus your attention, that's where the energy goes.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's also where the energy. That's also where the energy comes from. So, like for example, if you look at Shaolin monks and their training, or even Chinese army or whatever, you notice that they always do stuff together. It's never an individual doing the activity.
Right.
Because they're harnessing the energy.
Mm.
And once you have the energy in mass, now everybody can get their piece and go do whatever it is that they're supposed to do with it and be successful.
Mm.
So Noble Drew Ali said, you know, nationality is the order of the day, and then we're all supposed to say that we're Moors.
Mm-hmm.
That creates an energy. And then now we take that energy and then we go fight tickets. And then there's some energy that we save because now we don't have to pay these people out. And then we go fight taxes, and then there's some energy that we save because we don't have to pay people out. And then we go as a unit to talk to other nations because everything was already laid down. Drew Ali said, hey, your brothers from the east are going to come help you.
Mm-hmm.
But what are they going to help us with? What are they going to really help us with? They're going to help us with the resources because we'll have the energy.
Wow.
We'll have the collective thought to manifest our will on anybody, friend or foe.
Mm-hmm.
This is why, you know, like when I brought up that people have been doing things while we were Negro black colored. We thought that everybody was, you know, dumb. We were the only ones that were dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else had nationality and they were doing exactly what it is that they were supposed to do. Noble Drew Ali picked up on that and told us we better get a nationality so we can start doing what we're supposed to do. Because without nationality, you don't have the collective power.
Word.
Without nationality, you're lacking in you know, you have the two plugs trying to get energy with no socket, and everybody got plugs, and everybody's trying to put a plug in a plug, or put a socket in a socket.
Right. Wow. Great
Well,
knowledge.
thank you so much, for that clarity.
No, but it starts with us recognizing that you know the motto of the Moorish movement is uplifting fallen humanity. Right? The motto is uplift fallen humanity. The motto isn't start businesses. The motto isn't, and why is that the motto? Because humanity's fallen. You know, and honors to you for calling in because you are humanity.
For sure.
You know,
for sure.
Once we get sisters to realize their worth.
Mm-hmm.
Once they realize their worth, stuff's done.
Yeah, that's the value. Where the birthrights come.
That's the value, right?
Yeah,
that's the value. You know, there's a specific formula that we've strayed away from because people have you know been doing things. People have set things in motion that have us looking at those things like, oh yeah, we should, and Moor should have their own hospital, and Moor should have whatever like that. How about we uplift fallen humanity and see these things manifest at will? Because once you wake up fallen humanity, humanity now has the power to have any man do everything that's supposed to get done. We do it anyways. But we do it now on some low vibrations. You know what I mean? Like let these sisters tell these brothers, you know what I mean? No more hitting it until you guys unify as brothers. We'll unify tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be no beef amongst brothers. If the sisters say no more action.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, these brothers will be unified, just so they can hit it one more time. But you know, is humanity gonna lift herself to that level where she realized that she doesn't really need, you know what I mean? You don't really need a man for nothing other than to do whatever work you want done. Because what are we? You know, we're your helpmate. You know, we're the ones that got the strong back and stuff like that. That's supposed to lift the stuff. You say lift it. You say put that up, put up that thing, change the oil on the car, do whatever, and we'll do it. Just because. It's in our nature to help mother. It's in our nature to help mother. All mother has to do is ask, but mother has to be competent to know that she's mother, first of all, and that she has the right to ask, and we have the obligation to assist. We don't even question nothing. And again, the motto of the Moorish movement is uplifting fallen humanity. And many people take advantage of that position and have fezzes on and turbans and still push patriarchal stuff. When that's what really creates the debt. Patriarchal mindset creates the debt.
Wow.
Say that again, brother. What did you just say? Brother Cujo, what did you just say?
Patriarchal mindset is what creates the debt. Because there's no energy.
Everything is upside down. Yeah.
Exactly. There's no energy in a patriarchal mindset. Patriarchal mindset is why you have, brothers, getting with brothers getting sex changed to be women and crazy stuff like that. Patriarchal mindset is creating that. Patriarchal mindset has women being with women. That's not a feminist or whatever. That's a patriarchal thing. Because in a matriarchy, that wouldn't exist. Because the frequency would be so high.
Well,
when we talk about the female's higher senses, intuition and clairvoyance and all these things, there ain't no time for folly with intuition and clairvoyance going on a high level. You know what I mean? Like instead of a sister eyeing another sister because she's trying to take my man, I can see her trying to. How about they raise their vibration and build something?
Word.
Imagine they unify. Imagine all these Moorish sisters realize what's really going on, what's really supposed to happen, and them coming together as a cohesive unit. Just the females only. Right? This is why there was women's auxiliary and stuff like that during Noble Drew Ali's time. This is why in whether it's African culture, Hindu culture, Native culture, there was always a women elders that everybody went to when they had problems or whatever. Because matriarchy creates the credit, which is energy. That's why Noble Drew Ali can make statements like mountains of gold will be revealed to the Moors. That's based on when these sisters get their stuff together. Because nature's a mother, so once the sisters are vibrating on the frequency, what's everything that's feminine going to do? Vibrate with them. It's just going to happen so naturally. You just be walking. No wonder he's saying that we'll step over 20s. Because there'll be gold falling out the sky.
And it won't matter who's on the face of that bill.
Exactly, because the bill won't matter, because we'll have the resources. Which again, like you're saying, comes from the land. And anybody, if anybody knows what's up, you know that it's the land that creates the collateral. That's why they say United States, but that's on paper. But they're referring that to land.
Well, thank you.
In their mind, they're thinking in their mind, they're thinking we control the land when they say United States, even though that's only on paper.
Mm-hmm.
When they say, we want to have a monopoly with McDonald's everywhere, it's not the stores, it's the land that they have. Where is that store? It's not that they have 50,000 stores. It's about where did they put the store.
Mm-hmm.
What geographical, place did they carve out to put this store in? And then you find, same thing with churches, same thing with liquor stores, same thing with everything that's detrimental to us. Where are they at? They're on a specific land that is really supposed to be where our stuff is, but, since we don't want it, then they're going to do whatever they see fit. And then rule. And then have us think that it doesn't have anything to do with land. It has to do with, start a business and, start this and start that. But everybody knows it's about real estate. Real estate. Not fake estate, real estate.
True.
State of your mind. The state of your being. Well, Islam, thank you for listening and responding to my questions.
Thank you for calling in.
For sure. Yeah, that's highly appreciated. Cool, Joe, you just went in as well. We're going to move to the next caller. But, man, you just hit on a lot of things and ended on a strong note as well as far as, it going back to the estate. But it still goes right back to the mother or the woman because that's where we all come from. Another thing, when you was talking about the goal and the mother's energy creating the credit and then the debt, it's real because this is getting into the realms of piercing the laws of karma, right? When we talk about karmic debts, you got a whole branch of types of debts. So I just wanted to add that on, but everything you said was well said. Salute to you for that upliftment of fallen humanity. That being said, definitely want to invite on my matrilineal ascendant direct with the hand up in the queue. Peace and love, Ma. Are you with us?
Yes, I am. Wow. Yes, I am. Islam, peace and love to all. I was listening to, Islam Kujo, how you doing? Islam sister, and Islam everyone. Listening. Well, y'all were hitting on a lot of things, so very true. My thought that I was thinking is, and I think you already brought it into the broadcast because I wasn't on earlier. I came in a little later, and as a woman, as a Moabite sister, mother, I would be impressed if they would tell the truth about the true Aboriginal Indigenous appellation of Harriet Tubman, which is Eponina Ross Bay. Now, did y'all bring that up already?
Yeah, we already went in on that.
Okay. So, first of all, to the sisters that are listening, that you guys are saying that, they're going to do this to make the women feel impressed about the 20 note, which we already know is worth nothing, believe me. And the prophet already said that you'll see a $20 bill and you'll leave it laying there. And as Cujo had mentioned earlier, and you guys were discussing, is that, look, this is their way to bring faith back to it. I think you mentioned faith. There is an article on the religious controversy page called Faith, Fiat, and Dislogistic Family. Todd wrote that long ago, and we ought to all read it. So, yes, they're trying to bring faith back in it because I think it was Dave had mentioned, and I guess you guys had mentioned it too, is that Andrew Jackson was a runaway because we all know now that the Europeans were slaves. I mean, nobody's questioning it. Well, maybe some people are questioning it, but upon study they'll find it to be true. And so now they're going to replace that with Harriet Tubman. Now, what they call Harriet Tubman, because she's Eponina Ross Bay. Why don't they tell that truth? That's what they really, sisters, that's what you really need to know. All right? I saw it with my own eyes. It's in a book, and actually Brother Mataza showed it to me a while back. He gave me a copy of the page, but we can't find the name of the book or the book itself. But it was there with the photo. I have it somewhere in my archives. And so that's who she was. So what they did is taking her out of her status. Now they're calling her Harriet Tubman. And a brother earlier broke down what Harriet Tubman means. Well, that's a name under the jurisdiction of the corporations or the United States of America. So instead of saying who she really is, that would be impressive to me. But it wouldn't mean that it's all right for it to go on the Federal Reserve note at either rate. But that is what ought to be impressive to any of us sisters in regards to her, that truth. And so this is proof that they're still lying. And now they're like, all right, we're going to pull out this card and we're going to put the sister on the 20 note. Come on, wake up, everyone, really. It's such a game of smoke and mirrors. And they really do want your energy, as was mentioned. It's not about the note. What's being expended is the energy. When you go to work to your job and you're there from 9 to 5, at the end of the week or whatever, they give you a note. But what did you really give them? You gave them your energy. So what is the true value? The value is, in fact, your energy. So that's what I would think the sisters should take second thought to know. In reality, there are more people coming into consciousness now about these truths, this light of truth, than there was before. But there still will be some. It's just going to make it so that it's going to be a little bit more difficult for other people to take their head out of the sand because, hey, what are you talking about? We got Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill. And they're not going to. Yeah, they're just putting a net out. They're dying. They're falling so hard on the reality side that they're putting a net out to see how many unconscious people they can still grab. Now, at this point, it is about is you is or is you ain't. Now, I know that's improper English, but you understand what I'm saying as a slogan. And you either are going to be or you're not. So it really matters not in a moment. You and I were talking earlier, and she was breaking down to me about every knee shall bend. And people think, you're going to, like, bend down to some other god that you worship. No, she's saying that everybody is going to have to see the truth, and you're going to be forced to make changes, just as Prophet Noble Jarali said. So they know this is coming down the line, and they're throwing this out to see if they can get you to not quite make that change yet. So great show. I just wanted to add that in, and just as a reminder to the sisters, be impressed when they tell you the truth about who she was. And, yes, she did help free slaves, but they were the European slaves that she helped free. And don't be all upset about that because we, the Moroccan Moroccans on this side, were the ones who extended the olive branch to bring them into a nation. We now know that. Hillary Clinton mentioned it, but Obama, I didn't even realize that Obama had said the first nation to recognize us was Morocco until I saw the clip, which is on YouTube. I knew Hillary did it. I saw that, but I hadn't seen that Obama had said it as well. So, so that's the real deal about this. And, we mentioned that that's just the family that we extended to, that's what we extended so that they could be family, but they're not. It's not our family. So this fiat they have, it's not the real money. We know this. It's not. We don't even need to have it at all in terms of, like, as you said earlier, to do trade, but they're really just trying to pull you in to prop up the fact that this thing is falling hard. And so, yeah, really. And, that's all I want to say to the sisters. Be impressed of who she was. Be impressed of what she did. Don't take sides that she freed European slaves as opposed to freeing the slaves that you thought she freed, which were Moors. No. That's why they have that great swell. And I understand that the way in which they honored her and her burial, these modern Europeans, I'm saying. So this is why, because of what she did. I just want to see them tell the truth about who she is in terms of her Aboriginal title. That would be a great thing.
Right.
That's what I want to say.
For sure. Well, you know what? Hold on. We got 4 minutes left. I just want to make the announcement that the live, anybody listening via internet, the live feed to that is going to go down in about 5 minutes. If you would like to call in now, 347-945-5899, and the sister standing on law, my mother Anna E, will be going on at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Sunday, the 24th. All right. And while I got you on the line, Mom, I just want to say thank you. As I stand about an hour away from, the Gregorian calendar of my born day, I give you much thanks. My birthrights, everything, you know what I mean, and things I can't even count to thank you for. But for sure, power in that, like the brethren was saying, everything goes back to the sisters, the mothers, the women, the woman, you. So I just didn't want to neglect to make that acknowledgement that it's actually my born day, but, you were the one who achieved birth. Yeah, like you did. So it means something because when we talk about birthrights, you definitely cannot exclude or grab the notion that your mother didn't have anything to do with that. So big thanks to you and all out there, Well,
in honesty, thank you, son. Same for you. We polar. You're April 22nd. I'm October 22nd. So there's a whole lot of messages on that
80
one.
degrees.
And you being a degree Taurus trying to make me a Scorpio, but I'm not. I am a Libra with 6 planets in Libra. So when I was born, all right, that's where the party was, Libra.
Trust me, she's a Scorpio.
Neptune is only 1 degree in Scorpio. I am not a Scorpion. Stop. Don't do that. But I just want to say to all the people listening, including the sisters, since y'all bringing it up, the reason why, truthfully, this whole movement has not gone as far as it needs to go is for one main reason, and that is because sisters have not recognized that it's about birthrights and she's the one who gives birth. That's it, and that's all. It's quite simple. Until she does, the whole thing will not be happening. The great meeting will not be on, and that's really what it's about. And I would add this one thing. Oh, wait a minute. I was just sent the message. All right. Her Eponymla RVBey, who they now have named Harriet Tubman, was buried in Auburn, upstate New York. So go check that out. Maybe you can go visit her gravesite. I just wanted to say that, again, that the reason is because the sisters have not become active in recognizing that if it's about birthrights, it's about you. And when that does happen, things will change. So you're right, because it doesn't. The sons, of course, are assisting. But if the sisters continue to come through without this knowledge and birth and build the temples in their wombs, which is the first schoolroom, without this knowledge and defy this knowledge thereafter, then guess what? The efforts are almost like futile. So I just want to make a clarity that it's not about what the sons are doing or not doing. It really is about what you, the sisters, are not doing. That's just it. And lastly, the prophet said if you can't convince them they're not Negro, colored, or black, just walk away, right? And me and Anna E have come to the conclusion in our discussions even earlier today is that if you can't convince them that their duty is to enforce the Constitution, which was set up as rules of law on your ancestral estate to keep other citizens from molesting you, then don't even just forget it. If you're not going to go to that Constitution and enforce it to keep them off of you, then we're going to all be in trouble these days. Oh, and one last thing, I got another message. It's in pieces, but it's good. She went on a total of 19 missions, and we're talking about RVBey, who they now coined and call Harriet Tubman. That way, put her on the 20 note so that you can have faith in that piece of tissue. She went on 19 missions and freed 800 Slavic slaves. Just a bit of history there. So I ended with sisters, wake up. Islam, peace and love, and thank you for allowing me to share information on your wonderful show. And son, happy solar return. Happy solar return to you. And I'm glad that I was the bow that the arrow was shot through, which was you to come in, and that although you are my son from my womb, you belong not to me or to anyone that may be listening, but to the universe, as all children do. I know that you'll do great things as you move forward in your journey and your sojourn, because you're already at great things, so you can only do better. All right, peace and love.
Peace and love. I thank you so much for that.
All right.
Thanks to you all. You, Anna E., Cujo, it's just great to be a part of what we're doing right now. And, man, I love you, and keep doing what you're doing, no matter what, all right?
All right. Will do. Thank you. Got that.
All right. Cool. All right.
All right. Peace.
Peace and love.
All right. Peace and love.
Sure.
Peace and love.
All right. One. And, with that being said, I just want to flash back real quick.
How did you begin to shape and mold your son right here? Talk about that.
Before he was born, and before I even was conscious, I didn't know nothing about Moor except for that it's in the DNA.
Do you find yourself now learning from him?
Absolutely.
That's right. Brother's deep.
Absolutely. Because he's set on the path to go in that direction to learn this.
Right.
He's not starting from back here in building block 1 to get up to the 12th grade. He's already at the 12th grade in this knowledge, so he has no other choice but to go further than that. And that's what has to happen. But, like when I was pregnant, I did the math, and I said, wow, my son's going to turn 13 in the year 2000. And at that time, 2000, was a long way off. Of course, I didn't know what I was really having, but I did do that ultrasound, and they showed the outline of the head, and I knew that was a male hairline. And so then after he was born, too, I knew that he was going to turn 13. So to me, that meant something. I said, oh, he's a warrior. I said that. Because 2000 was so futuristic, and and he just found his way. You can only this is where family is. It's his choice. It was his choice. It's his choice. It wasn't my choice. But then again, at the same time, every mother out there, that's why the women have to get this, because your child in your womb can only come out knowing everything you know. So the stuff that he's even teaching me is the stuff that he already has in him.
Right. You was already teaching him in the womb.
But that's what it's all about. The very first school room is the womb. That's why the sisters have to get this, because it's them that's going to change the generations to come.
Islam. So, that being said, Cujo, you still there, brethren? All right.
Yeah, I'm here, Moor. I'm here.
Okay, all right, pardon me. So, yeah, I just wanted to play that flashback real quick because the message embodied in that was powerful. It stood out to me,
And it correlates with what my mother has been saying. The sisters, and what you just said in your endeavor, uplifting fallen humanity, with the sister that called in before my mother, as far as the women getting it. So, like, it's not because I'm special. It's because, not bragging on myself. I don't like to do that. But I was ordained on a mission from birth, all right? Whatever my mom had going on in her spirit, man, in her DNA, I came out with that mission. You know what I'm saying? And that was, if you don't know, that's a clip from when we did the interview with Sarnetta and whatnot. I'm not vouching for anybody. I'm just saying, wherever it was at, those words were true. So, again, got to give high honors to the sisters. And, you know, when they have this knowledge, before they conceive, they can only, and even if they don't, it's something in the DNA that continuously gets passed down, whether they're dormant energies that awaken at right times and whatnot. It is what it is. It's in the DNA, but being aware of that will advance. You know what I mean? So we get in the future people that has done greater things than anybody that we know in the past, even those that exist today, with this knowledge and information that we're receiving, and the babies that are born with this knowledge in their mother and their parents and their lineal, their ascendant line, they will come out and achieve greater things. Just like Yahshua said, you know, what I've done, all men can do, and some of you will do greater things. I'm not comparing myself at all. I'm just saying that the possibilities of men are infinite. So to keep that going, it's imperative that the sisters get that and imprint that into the children. So we don't have to worry about, you know what I mean, that lower self-vibration frequency in the generations to come. So with that, I say, you know, again, happy birthday to my mother, solar return, Earth Day, etc. Man, and I'm just thankful to be here. I'm thankful that I did come from the mother that I did come from or come out of in such a womb. Powerful sister. And all of her endeavors, even with these platforms, you know, I really do appreciate. I do have certain things in my life journey that, you know, certain things you just got to go through, certain things you're here to experience, and nothing will ever stop that, you know what I mean? But I say that to say I never forget my roots. I'm proud to be doing, like I said yesterday, for those who listened in to the preview, I was definitely glad to continue the legacy and add on, shall I say, to the best of my ability. And Are You in Denial, Your Ancestors, Part 3 will be coming. For those who listen, I said one of the things that stood out to me was the fact that a lot of the anamnesis that I had was based off of being in a place called Zion Crossroads. And, you know, that really, really meant something to me. So before we go on, keep those hands up. We do have a couple of callers, but I have to give a spin for my brethren, one of my favorite tracks that correlate with being in Zion. Islam.
Zion Gate Opener, Heaven's Gate Guardsman, Reverend Order One Open, Henchman Zion Gate Opener, Heaven's Gate Guardsman, Reverend Order One Open, Henchman Squadron. Mood was on stage to the crowd, I'm a marksman. Crosshair, your pioneer, my dress shoes are clocks, man. No square front shoes, rappers dressed like cowboys, in tight jeans like Aerosmith. My time's now, boys. Y'all been on the mic, some of y'all fell off the stages. You got the ancients vexed, so they got me on y'all cases. Got me on the humble, but if you get it twisted, who will make you crash your car and blast you with spirits? No fear none, ritualistics make rapping dummies limber than some wet biscuits. Rise you like this quick, your bank account doubles. For talking arms out and making youth get in trouble. You don't have to believe it, I call it as I see it, call me Simon. The more carrying the cross for pale Jesus. Zion Gate Opener, Heaven's Gate Guardsman, repping for the one open, Henchman Squadron. Zion Gate Opener, Heaven's Gate Guardsman, repping for the one open, Henchman Squadron. Zion Gate Opener, Heaven's Gate Guardsman, repping for the IHS and 2
Islam. I had to give that a spin real quick. That song mean a lot to me, my brethren, a lot. And I appreciate all the music you're doing. You know, I know certain radio stations, they won't play, you know, enlightenment songs like that. But, you know, having a chance to give that good music a spin, I had to do it. And, I mean, that particular song means a lot to me, man. So I just want to say thanks to you, bro. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep embodying the message that you are. And, you know what I mean? I appreciate you all being on this platform here. So, you know, big shout out to you, fam. Big shout out to you. Islam.
Islam.
That being the case, we have about 45 minutes left. And I do want to get to the rest of the callers, so we're going to jump into caller 347-873. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Islam, Moor.
Islam.
Peace and love.
Peace and love, fam. How are you?
I'm magnificent. My appellation is William Avery Anderson, ill.
Peace, Noble. Oh, man, it's good to hear you on the line.
So indeed, I was striving to get to the line, but we had to go pick my aunt up at the New Jersey airport, and I finally made it back around like 9 something. I called in. I caught the last little bit, and very informational, very beautiful information that definitely sparked something in my mind, and I wanted to add on. We're speaking about Article 1, Section 10, and what I remember from when I was kidnapped, I had to use those avenues in order for me to free myself. Not particularly that section, but as far as Clause 1, dealing with Bill of Pains, and then dealing with Article 1, Section 9, Clause 3, dealing with Bill of Attainder. Knowing these things what helped me get free. But we were speaking about how the woman had to learn what the Constitution was used for, which is it's a defense for us. It helps us defend against foreign invasion. And I had firsthand experience, so I felt like it was like a rite of passage in a way, where it bore me into the world which I was supposed to be in the beginning, while I was left blind for moments of time. But you know, a day is equal to 1,000 years, and it reminded me of the purpose of standing on our 5 principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And those 5 principles are more valuable than any monetary value. So if we were to move accordingly to the 5 principles, then we would not have to worry about the fiat dollar or the petrol dollar, because, like the brother said, the energy the energy is the value. The energy is what makes everything in motion. Islam.
Islam.
True. True indeed. That's true indeed. And you know, experience, you gain knowledge, right? So, you know, you can speak on certain things from experience, not, you know, from speculation or it's supposed to go like this or like that. Like, you've had experience that allowed you to gain more knowledge and wisdom and understanding. You know, just, you know, everything else you said, man, is on point. It is. Those 5 principles are more valuable than any tangible note, for sure. So with that, Islam, bro. Kujo, did you want to add on, brethren?
And before...
All right. Cool.
Nazarene.
Islam, bro. Well, man, did
Islam.
you want to add anything else on, or you good?
I wanted to wish you a happy natural born day, brother.
Oh man, thank you much, bro. Thank you very much. And it will be tranquility. You know what I mean? I'm chilling. So thank you very much for extending that, bro. And we trust you keep staying in tune. Again, remember, the Sister Standing on Law is this Sunday at 1 o'clock p.m. So keep that in mind. All right, my brother.
All right,
All right, Moor. Keep studying and doing what you're here to do. Islam. One.
Peace.
All right. Caller 314-456. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Yeah, Islam Moors. How y'all feeling this evening?
Yeah,
all is well, brother. How about yourself?
Man, all is well, man. This is Devon Robertson L. Calling from Northwest of Mexico. My domicile is currently in Mecca. Just real quick, I just wanted to touch on, piggyback on what Cujo said. He was talking about, the power and the influence, I'm saying, that the sisters have. It kind of took me back, when the movie Chirac came out. And, I'm saying, a lot of people was in their feelings, about obviously the title of the movie. But when I saw the preview of the movie, even without seeing the movie, I felt like it was so powerful because what Spike Lee did was so ingenious, where he basically was saying that sisters have the power to get the brothers in order. Like Cujo spoke to earlier, if the sisters said tomorrow, we not messing with brothers until they get their shit in order, you think we not going to get it together?
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much what the movie was depicting. Like, the sisters have the power, but they don't really realize what they sitting on. You know what I'm saying? And then the other part was, like Cujo was saying, like if we all are on the same page, we all unified, and we all looking the same, that energy and that power is man, it's priceless.
Mm.
So I just wanted to touch on that part. When he brought up the part about the sisters, you know what I'm saying? Like, people felt like how they felt about the whole movie Chirac, but I saw it for a deeper meaning. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't go see it, but I just watched the previews of it. But just even seeing that, and then, when Cujo brought that up, it just popped in my head. Like, that's exactly what that movie was depicting, you know what I'm saying, as far as the powers that our sisters actually have. But, they the key to everything, you know what I'm saying? But we such in this, this patriarchal system instead of being in a matriarchal system that, we don't realize that. So, man, I just want to salute you brothers for the work that you guys put out, you know what I'm saying, the work that you continue doing, man, and just Islam to the family.
Islam. No, for sure. Sure. Cujo, you want to add on to that, bro?
No, yo. Everything's good.
All right.
Everything's good.
Cool. We're going to get into the next caller. But thank you, brother, for tuning in with that.
No doubt.
All right. Peace and love. One. Hey, but yeah, Cujo, that's real fact. When you were speaking about the natural energy being the true money, that is true because money is moon energy. Or the magnetic mother energy. Oh, and on that note, it's kind of odd because it's a full moon tomorrow on my born day. But that's the true, real talk. That's the true money, the true magnetic energy, the moon. Yeah, so, and it governs, you know what I mean? It does do its thing. As quiet and chill as it may seem, we get that magnetism that pulls things up from the earth. They it's a cooperation, but that moon energy is key. So again, that goes right back to the gold and silver being symbolic of the sun and the moon. They have certain symbolic values for a reason, for sure. So with that being said, we're going to get into the next caller. We have a couple of more callers, but let's take caller 443-376. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Islam, beloved. I am Hassan RVBey at Northwest of Maximum. I wanted to chime in again because you guys have made a few points, and I wanted to say once again, yes, happy solar return to you, Brother Mizraim, and happy birthday to Mother Roz, technically speaking. It's really cool that you played that clip because that is the same clip that inspired me too. That saw another clip where you and Sister Roz were sitting there at the theater. And you had mentioned for the first time that I ever heard, but I was able to make a correlation from that video where you mentioned, Brother Miz, auto fecundity, and another video where Brother Taj says, the first man's name is Aisha, as well as correlating that with the Immaculate Conception of, the personified Jesus with Mary. And I was able to make those correlations, and it's just awesome that you had just, played that and then saying the importance of, fallen humanity being the mothers and getting this information first and foremost. And to tie all of that in with, like the last brother that just called, Robinson Neal, about a movie, so to speak, I wanted to touch bases with what Cujo said as far as our energy is the moneta, the money, so to speak. There's a movie, and not to sound silly, but I wanted to put it out there on the table because of the message and the names that were chosen in the movie as well. But it's Monsters, Inc., where the premise is you have these monsters living in a monster world whose sole job is to come through the closet of children to scare them while they're sleeping so that they're able to put in a canister the energy that they exude from the children's fear, thus trying to meet a weekly quota to fill these canisters with energy from these children's scares in order to power their monster world. So that's what we have been living for so long, even to tie in with that whole Harriet Tubman thing. It's like a lot of people are caught up in the American dream. When one dreams, one must be asleep. So you still now have a very vampiric, so to speak, monetary system who is going to put a more face to a debt note to try to further have people put their energy, i.e. scares, into a canister so that these monsters, quote unquote, can continue to power their world. When really, if you look at that movie, the moral of that whole movie was when they found out when Boo, the so-called human girl, comes into their monster world, they eventually learn through Sullivan, who is the main character, which is a rhythmic name of Solomon, which we all know is son. They find out that you will be able to fill your quota a lot quicker with the joy of children instead of trying to scare the children. And nationalization would be that exact joy. We would be able to power any world if we were to take that joy, so to speak. And it's very important to really realize that, the prophet was brilliant in saying, come all ye Asiatics, of America, and hear the truth about your nationality and birthright. And to fast forward, to speed up to so you can learn to love instead of hate. Because with love energy, we'll be able to get a lot more done with our energy, which is the money, which is the resource. And that's just the only correlations I wanted to make just for the family, I guess, to, that's listening or will later on in archives will just be able to use to, further research. So I just wanted to add that to the table. I yield the floor, but my beloved family, thank you so much. Islam.
All right, Islam, thank you much. That being said, we're going to get Islam. Did you want to add on, Cujo?
No more. We're straight.
All right. So with that being said, I'm going to get into, excuse me. Oh, all right, cool. We good. I'm going to take the next caller 972-839. You're live on the air. You with us? Caller 972-839. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Islam.
Can
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you were giving off some feedback at first. You're good. Can you hear us? You with us? Peace and love. Call it 972-839. Are you with us? All right.
You hear me? It's on.
Yeah,
it's
I can
on.
hear you now.
Okay, then. Peace and love. Give thanks to the family. All praise to Nobody Ali and
Islam, Brother Shakur.
And
you fading on this, bro. You're fading on this hard. Yeah, I can hear you now. You good right now.
Okay, then. That's good. It's good. And, y'all having another great show tonight. And everything that y'all stated, all the information that come in is very great. And
my brother.
Cool.
Yeah, fam. I'm gonna have to go to the next call on you if you keep fading. I always appreciate you calling in.
It's on.
Always good to hear from you. Islam Noble.
It's on. You hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, then. I don't know why, you know what I'm saying, technology, you know what I'm saying, then we know how these so-called Europeans are trying to block us and not want us to wake up, but guess what? We're waking up. Like Miss Ram said, the more the waking up. And I love hear Miss Raj Mariah, and when she how she put the cut in and verbalize that, because they are trying to stop. They can't stop this because we're on a mission and we're waking up and we know what we need to do. Study. I just got out of the courtroom. I've been to court actually in the last month 4 times, and the lawyers. I had 4 lawyers. What I learned of RVBey publications about me studying, and they had 4 lawyers when I went to court dealing with my situation, and the judge, when it came down to it, make a long story short, they changed, didn't show up, and they came with 1, 2, then they had another one. Then when we came this 4th time, that before you go into the well of the court, they have a side door where you go in and you handle your business and speak, you know what I'm saying, try to make some kind of agreement arrangement. And they stated that this is so, excuse me, but this is so true what y'all putting out, and it's so miraculous that if our people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. And if we would study and get out of this period of we're the one that put ourselves and we are our own God.
Brother, I don't want to cut your wisdom, but you're getting faded on us. You're getting real faded on us. Yes.
Okay, then. But you know what I'm saying, and the make a story cut short, that they stated that, you know, that they told the lawyers that they need to do more research, because I read writs and affidavits and sit in, and they came in and they stated that and thought they was going to win, but the judge told them, didn't look at us, but it was me and my wife, told the lawyers and the corporation that they need the most time, because I wrote her a writ, and she understood exactly because I had in the writ, because the thing that was discussed, I want your, and you are witness to that because you know how you go approach the bench. I want your delegation and authority order. I want your, you know what I'm saying, not only your delegation and authority order, I want your submission and your contract to be a lawyer, and I want all the, it was in legalistic. Now, I'm just saying this here, but it was in legalistic. I wrote up, and she told them that lawyer, and I'm not a lawyer, I'm going by what I studied, that told them that you need to do more studying. I said, wow, I'm telling myself, but you know what I'm saying, I mean, the expectation getting level high. I said, wow, this stuff is really worth, and not only me thinking that, but I'm knowing that I've been listening to you guys for years, and I know, and not only listen to y'all, because my father always told me, don't only listen to a person way they talk or speak or what they saying. You go do the research, and I did research on you guys, and I did research on what y'all saying, and I found that, and I had a Black Law Dictionary. I have a 4th edition, I have a 7th edition, and I have etymology dictionary, and I have unabridged dictionaries that I go in, and these words and these laws, everything y'all say is compatible with the laws, and it is very well put together. And what y'all are saying into your listening audience, and I'm not very particular in pronunciation and speaking because I was born in the 50s, but you know, and I'm like, Allah, why are you doing me like this and now and trying to get me in this chair? Why didn't you get me this when I was like 16, 17, 18, 19 years old? But yet, who am I to question Allah and his wisdom? But yet, I appreciate and I think you, Miss Ram, Roz Morale, Nadia, Cujo, Taj, I think all of you guys that putting this out here that, as Nova Joanne said, this is for the babies and the yet unborn. That means the young and yet unborn. And we need this so much to know who we are. And we study, so we can show our stuff approved, because we're going to be tested at any time, and we must know law. We must know what is legal and lawful. We must understand that the formats that the corporation, the Europeans, has taken over and using our name and using our land and our presidents and working their ill-elicited structured behavior to point and show the world and causing us to look back. I just put it like that, to make us look back. But once we get to know that who we are, this is our land, and that we can study, and regardless if you from the west, north, south, southeast, wherever, and if you study, regardless how your verbiage is in relating, talking as on this telephone, but you can put it in a constructed legal and lawful and correct manner in due process. It will verbatim the language up to a how and how up to Supreme Court, and you will win because we are more. This is the North Gate. This is Northwest of Mexico. We are more. Our mothers are mobiles. Without her, us sons, wouldn't have no existence. Now we're here as the guiders and the protectors of the queens because it is, as they say in this land, is a patriotic system which is male influence. But how can you have a nation when you're not the feminine and have a nation within you to produce a nation of people? And here we are, and I understand. And I wish, like I said again, I had learned this when I was younger, and I would be able. But guess what, though? I am not Allah. Allah created the universe. He created the earth plane. He created the solar system. He created everything that he put in place. Now we are here, and we are gathering the understanding of those who have the intellectual wisdom from all above to guide us. And I thank Allah for RVBey publication, and I thank for the strong sons and the mothers who are pressing hard and giving us and grabbing us by the collar and shaking us that we may be able to wake up and know who we are, because it is time. We are in the age of Aquarius, and we need to be woken up, and we need to get ourselves in order that our children and our children may move forward. Islam, and I'll relieve the floor.
Islam, brother. Thank you for calling in, man, and adding on as you usually do. We're thankful for brothers and sisters on the path that you're on as well, to say the least, because we all on the path, man. So keep doing what you're doing. Freezing up magistrates and turning them into water and things of that nature, man. Just keep doing what you're doing, bro.
It's from my heart. I love you. I love your mother. I love Rosma Ra. I love Cujo. I love Tara. I love y'all, and peace and blessing to y'all. And y'all keep the strength and keep the faith, and most of all, speak truth, tell truth, and lead the people into righteousness, because many are called, but few are chosen. Those who hear in the ear will hear. Islam.
Islam, Noble. Again, thanks to you, man. And in the first principle, I love you too, fam. For real, man. Y'all, you keep doing what you're doing. All right, but we got a few scarce moments left, and I want to take the last two callers, fam. So we're going to get into that. Is that cool?
Yeah,
all right. Islam. All right, cool indeed. So caller 585-410. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Islam. This is Naeem Azrael. I just want to say Islam to our elder. You know, I always like listening to him no matter what, and he is a lesson, and you need to slow down because he will make you slow down and actively listen. So, yeah, maybe we need to do that. I want to say hey to Cujo, Ms. Raheem, and happy solar return to you. I like that Taurus energy going there. I'm a May 19th Taurus, so it's like a lot of Taurus stuff going on. But,
you on a powerful day. You was born.
Yeah.
And you
really?
know what? It's funny you say that. Hold on. Because you called in last week, and I gave you the analogy of Malcolm X. Who knew he was born on his born day? What's up with that?
Yeah.
So that's powerful. That's powerful. But it's still in all the taurine energy. You know what it is.
Yeah, I know. And no, but this whole thing, I just want to say thank you guys for having this, no matter what platform, whether it's the Sons of Allah, the Eyes Wide Open, the Sunday School, the Sisters Standing on Law, and I think we hear so much about that currency is what currency is really what and we don't, I know me, I'll speak for myself. Sometimes you really don't have something to correlate it to, but today is a good example for me because, of course, I was at work all day. I didn't know about the Prince thing because they have TVs all over the place or whatnot, but a lot of stuff that you guys touched on with the money, all that, I didn't know. If I don't plug in, that's what I was saying. I thank you guys for these shows because I'm keeping abreast of stuff here because I didn't, you're at work, even though it wasn't a bad day or whatever, it's still my energy, and I'm being distracted on certain levels from what's really happening and what's really going on. So I just wanted to thank you guys for that. And the full moon is really at 1:24 Eastern Standard Time, so that's the full list that it's going to be. And then, of course, I'm sure you can do your rituals or whatnot off it right now, but it's all the same. But that's all I wanted to say. Thank you, but we really don't. Maybe some people probably don't plug in because I know for a while I wasn't tuning into Sons of Allah, but you need to hit them all. You need to just stay in on all these shows all the time, whenever they broadcast. That's all I have to say. But again, happy solar return, and I want to say Islam to everybody.
Islam, thank you.
You're so welcome.
Sure. All right. Peace and love, and keep doing what you do. With that being said, we're going to go to the next and last caller. Caller 903-217. You're live on the air. Are you with us? 903-217. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
Sorry about that. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. My appellation is Nyawa Veronique Howell, and I'm new to the community. And I just want to take a few minutes to just say thank you guys all the way through with all the shows that you're doing, all the information that you're pulling out, the way Cujo's taking rap to a new level. I'm glad I got a chance to be able to hear that, learning about law. And I just wanted to say this real brief because I know your time is short. Aside from saying basically thank you, sorry, this is my first time calling in.
Oh, good. Thank you for calling in.
Everything is lining up. That's what I wanted to say. I come from a family that's actually female dominated, okay? Mm-hmm. And with the information that you guys have given so far, it is actually lining up with what I thought was real but couldn't put my finger on it. Okay, and like I emailed one RVBey, one of the ladies over there, I basically said I'm convinced, okay, because what you're putting forth is truth, and that's what I've always been seeking for. But this is what I want to say on the money because I know that your show today was about Harriet Tubman on the money. And I know we can look at it in the conspiracy theory. I know we can look at it in all kinds of ways, historically and everything. But I want to think about it this way, since you touched on the women stepping up, the sisters stepping up, the positive end of this. And I understand about the gold standard. And how it's fiat money. But the positive end of this is that if Harriet Tubman is representing us in our former state as Moors without saying that she's a Moor, then to put that image on the dollar bill would actually help to increase the vibration of the female if we actually go back to our original, the mindset of our mothers, our forefathers. Okay? The adorning of the head, basically. I'm not saying everybody needs to cover their head. I'm not going religious on that, but I'm just saying that image with that historical fact of who we are can create a positive image. Okay, historically, it can also show us something in that Andrew Jackson basically didn't want to give us what we need, what we were supposed to have as far as being returned to our rightful state. Okay, so now if they're putting him on the back, the fiat note, and putting her on the front, I think the female energy, I think you guys are absolutely correct when you say the female energy can come forward, needs to come forward, because it is a matriarchal mindset. And I appreciate you guys so much for actually being humble enough as sons, as men, as brothers to actually uplift the females, okay? Because you're right. A female is giving. I mean, if you went biblical, and I don't mean to go there, but it says that Eve was the mother of all living, and I know there's some discrepancies on who she is in the Bible, first, second, chapter-wise. But we do give out, okay? We do, like I said, it lines up and you just vibe with, like you said, vibrations, but I sense it. And I don't mean to, be all, in any kind of crazy way, but I'm sorry. I'm a little nervous. Okay, the last thing, and I know I'm not finishing all my statement because I know your time is short, but the third thing was that about found money. You guys talked about resources and currency, and I just kind of want to share with you just a little bit of something. Just yesterday, I was traveling on the road, and I happened to see something shiny on the road, and I knew what it was. So I stopped, turned around, went back 7 miles, came back up 5 miles to pick it up, okay? And what it was a 4-foot piece of copper, about 5 or 6 inches thick. And what I told myself when I picked it up, I said, that's found money. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is. It's using those basic resources that we have that we're not utilizing to get back to that bartering system, to get back to those means of exchanges, to get back to our creative self. Because if you think about it, when they kicked us out of the union, so to speak, and made them European unions, we were the most skilled at certain things. And I think we forgot that. As I was growing up, I was like, well, why don't we learn Latin? Why don't we learn French? Why don't we learn law? Why don't we learn all these things? And for the Moors to come back and say, hey, we're going to lift you up to the standard that the church has been talking about is a good thing. It's a great thing. It's an honorable thing. And I just want to thank you guys for doing that, okay? And that's pretty much all I had to say to that.
Man, thank you, sis. Thank you much for even adding that on, because that's high frequency. That's high vibration. We appreciate that, too. I'm pretty sure Cool Joe was about to say something. I didn't mean to cut your wisdom, but big thanks to you.
No, good. Good.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, sure. I'm pretty sure I speak for us all when we say thank you. And please keep staying in tune. You know what I mean? Because
yes,
it is imperative. This is for you all. So Islam to you, peace and love. In domestic tranquility, for sure.
Okay, I just want you to know that we're out here listening, and at some point I want to get my hands in and help. Okay.
That's what's up. That's what we need. That's what we need.
Okay, I want to get my hands and help.
All right, and keep in mind too, sis, this Sunday at 1:00 p.m. is the Sister Standing on Law broadcast, Eastern Standard Time. 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can tune in and get a wealth of information on that as well. So thank you.
I've been tuning in to you guys, and I will definitely be there.
All right, that's peace stuff. Peace and love. Have a great night.
All right, thank you.
No problem. All right, cool. That was okay. Hold on, one more caller just added on. Let's see, caller 510-334. You're live on the air. Are you with us?
I am. Peace. This is Anthony RVBey. I've been listening tonight, and money is. I love Cujo. Love Ms. Rick. I love how you guys are doing the show. Just want to say thank you. I don't know how much time we have, but not much. But I do want to say that we're putting our money, putting our time into these, putting our energies into these jobs or jobs that we're going out on. Should we be declaring our nationalities at those jobs? That's, I guess, what I'm really. Then
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this because we're short on time. Get the book or RVBey Publications, Nomen Substantivum, right? Pull out some references in there. I don't know how you started or how you applied for that particular job. If you applied in your Nam de Gear and in the black status and all of that, you might want to strategically think out how you're going to go about correcting it because this is your records that you created. So you might want to have a lot of primitive basis for declaring your nationality if you're going to do that at this point. If you started off in your Nam de Gear, I'm not suggesting you stay in the subject state of mind or in the subject status doing commerce, but I'm saying that you have to answer that question for yourself and think about it strategically, how you're going to go about that. Some people have done it with no problems because they did it with honorable intentions. Then others, just because they heard and wanted not to get taxed, didn't know what they were doing and ended up losing their job. So think about your next move and what would make it substantive for you alone, where you say, I know this is right what I'm doing, and this is why I'm doing it. And then, that question you can resolve basically when you're ready to. But if I was you, I wouldn't try to, I don't know where your knowledge base is at. I'm not doubting it in any aspect. I'm just saying that you need references if you're going to do that. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Yeah, you should declare your nationality, but you shouldn't do it if you don't know what you're doing. I'm not saying you shouldn't because it's yours, but you need to know what you're doing. You know what I mean? You need to know how to approach the situation so you don't end up losing the relation based off of that alone. You have to come substantively. Also, Moor Civic Service, the Pink Book on RVBey Publications. I suggest you get into that, check that out, and, definitely feel free to tune in. Sunday, Sister Standing on Law, and then again, every Tuesday, Principles of Nationality and Action, MHHS. So those are questions that you have to ask and answer for yourself on when you're going to do it. Because I can say, yeah, you should declare your nationality at your job. But you know what I mean? If you don't have a succession of things in order to protect yourself from the words of your own mouth, because we don't clock in together, I can't speak for you when you go to do that. You have to be clear on doing that. And when you're clear on doing that, that wouldn't even, you would know what you would know. You know what I mean? Yeah, so for sure, yes, but don't do anything premature is my suggestion. Islam. Bro, Cujo, do you want to add on to that?
You hit the nail on the head more.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because the next thing is, I tried to declare my nationality and they didn't like it and I got fired. This Moorish thing made me lose my job, all of that. No, prevention is better than cure. So the prevention is study, be firm, stand planted on what it is your next move for your civic affairs is going to be, and make that move when you know it's right, when you know that it's not even a question if you should, that you know why you're going to do that. So study, fam. Islam.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in. All right. So with that being said, that's our last caller on the night. You know what I mean?
Great build. Great build.
Yo, another great build. Great Sheik, I'm definitely honored to be on the line with you, man. You know, it was really great. You brought out a lot of great points. The energy tonight was really great. I'm going to chill out, you know, bringing in my born day. I'm kind of chill, tired. I'm going to just cool out and do me tomorrow type of thing. But
yeah. No compromise. And before we get cut off, let me tell you, happy solar return too. And you know what I mean, honors to being on the platform with you, and you know what I mean, honors to Sister Raz for, you know, bringing forth and letting it be known, you know what I mean, that nationality, once you have that and you have that in the womb and you bring forth, it's definitely going to manifest into something. For anybody who wants to bring forth something, you know, Brother Mizraim is a perfect example of what it is to be born a Moor. You know what I mean? That's what it's about. You know what I mean? Having that level of competence from the womb to the tomb. You know what I mean? So honors to you, and straight you relax on tomorrow. No compromise tomorrow.
No compromise. I'm chilling, bro.
No compromise.
And yo, but again, man, biggest thanks to you, man, because you do a lot. You're doing a lot with everything you do, man. You really go hard. And I just want to say, keep in tune. Everybody knows, but if you don't, you could definitely pick up the brother's music at willofalah.com. RVBey Publications is definitely a avalanche of truth, not lies, an avalanche of truth for you to start, getting nourishment from. RVBey Publications. And again, like I said, pay attention because we will be updating all those pages just about throughout this year. So, family, we thank you all. Thank you all for tuning in as you do. Brother Cujo, for you being in this too.
Honey, steak's on. Come on outside. What's with the boots?
I'm sick of getting stung by fire ants.
Don't worry, I used Amdro fire ant bait last week.
I don't know. You've tried other stuff before.
Amdro's different. It's a bait. Fire ants think it's food, so they take it back to the mound to share. Once the queen and the other ants eat it, the whole mound dies. Boom, gone.